data has been there for a long time. You're an engineer, I'm an engineer. We started with that even before knowing where we're going to land. The amount of data has always been available, but never used, because although it was there and available, transforming it into a usable availability was very challenging. But for recently, there's been much more ability in calculation power and the ability to mine data, a much better way for our industry to actually get something meaningful out of it. Before it was nice to have it, there were trends, we could do graphs, but now it could be meaningful. So how deep is the data use in your industry?
Oh, the data. So it really depends. So when you own your own architecture, like Netflix, you have a much deeper, richer vein of data that you can see what people are watching, how long are they watching for it, do they rate the shows afterwards, what else can I serve to them? So it can be a lot more tailored and a lot more customized to your needs and wants. But the downside to Netflix is they don't spend much money in advertising, which is where the studios really benefit, because they're in the advertising world of, when they're spending half of their budget in digital, and you can read a signal from that. And with the right data tracking, you can see which Instagram post led to them then going on to either consume more content, or ideally with more data tagging, you can actually see them get to the point of transaction at the cinema chain. That relationship stops when you get to the cinema chain, unless you have some sort of data agreement with that cinema chain that we can see how they've gone all the way through to transaction.
So there's a little fight for data.
There's always a little bit of a relationship required. And that relationship needs to become more normal more quickly, because then it means that you can get your consumers' data much more readily available.
It's so important for us. It's we worked with TPA, so it's basically the insurer is not doing all the work; it delegates part of the work to a servicing firm, and the key for the insurer is to get the data and use the data to be able to see what the trends are in the cost of whatever we cover, and be able to adapt. So you change the product, you put limitations, or you increase the price, or you reduce the price, which because of inflation usually it doesn't happen. Usually it's trying to go up. But also it allows an insurance company to take action to prevent, as we spoke earlier, or to negotiate or to limit the cost of some reparation or medical procedure also, or mutualize them. Anyway, there's plenty of techniques that can happen. But it only works when you get the data and you work either with a third-party administrator, or if you're a big group, you have your subsidiaries. But putting all the data together is always a challenge. When you manage that, you have a competitive advantage over the others because you know what's going on. And being able to create proper assessment of those data, so much data. Before, we're happy when you see, there's that company, they have 5,000 people in that location. They always go to an hospital which is, very close, but an hospital a bit further, has better healthcare and is cheaper. So you try to divert that. You either negotiate with the hospital to say, well, you keep on getting our clients or, our employees as your clients, but we have a better price and you need to stop charging that ludicrous amount of money, or we send them somewhere else, and then incentivization to do that. So that was like 10 years ago. But now you can start using the data to actually improve the health of those workers. Of course, the hospital stuff is done and so on. But start taking different action, which brings us closer to the client, have maybe a sentiment of community, but creating something which is helps to avoid that there is a claim happening. So I find that the more we are able to use data, the more we're going to drive towards a much extended servicing from the insurance world. And I don't know if that's the same.
I think it's exactly the same as what the issues are in the entertainment sector. That data and the processing power of that data is really important. Valuing data and understanding which data is important, what is a primary signal, what is a signal that feels like the others but maybe doesn't point to an outcome. A lot of it in the past has been navigating because of the limited processing power. There were always studies over a period of time. How do we do this? Is that the same signal? There's always a need, especially when you're working through an intermediary like a media agency, a digital media agency. They will often add a series of metrics, so many metrics to your business.
Yeah.
Because it's not because they're trying to distract you from the job you're trying to do. It's because individually you've got some very bright people trying to answer a series of questions of how can we sell a ticket more effectively. But just by asking that one question, the interpretation of that question or the biases of that question to the 3 or 4 people that are trying to answer it in their way might mean that you end up coming back with a serious amount of data that quite a lot of it, whilst it's complementary, it's like, well, which are the 3 things that really make a difference? It's like, we've got 21 pieces. It's like, okay, well, let's simplify this down. The question was this.
Yeah.
If these signals are genuinely unique business driving signals, fantastic. If these are, complementary signals, let's remove them. That's when processing was at a lower level. Now that processing can be significantly higher. Yes, you have to write the prompts to make sure that they're valid and understood, and the key ones you can run the trend analysis quicker and really look for any of those changes and trends. So it's going to be super exciting. I think that it will be exciting. It's going to put more pressure, I suppose, on a media agency to prove to a client they understand the business, because agencies have always been an extension of the client's workforce, because the clients can't go and ask for more headcount. So you end up having more people in your agency team and offsetting it into the marketing budget, right? So they've been a parallel team member, but it won't take long for the right technology partners to partner up with clients to say, actually, the way that you run your business, and it might not be the major consulting groups, the 4 big consulting groups. It might be something a bit smaller. It might be something that can be a little bit more tailored. It's going to be difficult for clients to build that capability in-house. They would normally like to look at a service or a product and then trial it for a little while and then take it to full utility. But I think the most important thing is it's about the utility. And I think that clients all want to understand their customer better, what they like and what they don't like. And it's the things they don't like are probably really important, because it's about then adapting the product to make sure that they have a better relationship with it.
So you have to also be very, very precise with the data. That if you analyze a big set of data in insurance, I'm just taking that because it's, you have, the data that you select will be, to train your model will be a smaller set. So there will be bias in it. And then you will add data and you need to access to more and so on, and new development, and now you can access more data, so etc. But you can't, if you get it wrong, and it's the bias, it will just completely flow your model. So you endanger your own profitability or your own product line, or even your company. Although, I think that since there is level 3 lines of defense, there's going to be lots of people in there involved looking at this critically.
Bucket,
exactly.
So let's not put everything against it.
But it could suck up a lot of resources for a no result or wrong result, which we don't want that. So precision is also important.
Yeah.
So, but I understand it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. And I think if you look at all the social media platforms that are out there and all the data that you can pull from those, I sort of said that movie studios, when they break a trailer or any part of a campaign, if it's digital investment, then they can draw back a number of signals from that, from the audience or whatever that might be. But it's trying to rationalize that down into how does that help this movie right now?
Yeah.
And also what's the learning that we can take into the next movie? And that's where the dividend really plays out, and it's going to be more compressed.
Yeah.
So it means that they can learn from some of those mistakes a little bit quicker, or even offset some of those mistakes a little bit quicker. Obviously, audiences across the world are similar and very different all at the same time.
Yeah,
and taste and
culture,
censorship and
yeah.
culture, it can play a huge role. So it's about making sure that the data and those biases, are respected, or protocols are set out so that data can be consumed. The worst way that it happens is that those models are run in the US, looking at the US consumer, when actually the play is a multicultural, it's a multi-territory thing, even within a market, even in a country like the US, where it's not a singular culture, there's multiple cultures. And so it's about how do you set out those models.
They know that in the US. We don't know that here, but the US thinks that the rest of the world is monolithical as well, right?
Yes.